Hi, everyone. Doug Adams here from the Run DNA podcast. Excited for another short episode where we're going to talk about how you should know your workout goals and fuel appropriately. So, a question I get a lot from my runners is about fueling before their workouts. I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian, but I do have enough training as a PT to know when to answer these types of questions or refer out to somebody who has a lot more expertise. The answer to this particular question about fueling before run is like almost every other running question. It depends. The main concept that we teach at Run DNA is that every run or every workout should have a goal. When a runner puts on their shoes, they should understand not just what the workout is, but why they're doing it, why the workout's happening now, and what the expected benefits of the workout is. When someone understands the purpose of their run at this level, they're much more likely to execute on the plan and get the full benefits. So going back to the fueling question, the answer depends on the goal of the workout. I heard a great quote recently that gives a pretty good response to this fueling question. Do you want to be fast or fasted? It's not quite as simple as this, but for a big picture overview, the reason people ask about fueling before workouts partially has to do with the fuel source our body uses during workouts. When we're doing lower intensity workouts, our body does not need as rapid of a rate of fuel production. Therefore, the body can better utilize fat as a fuel source, which takes longer to produce but has nearly limitless supply. Not calling anyone fat, that's just physiology. When we do more intense workouts, we need fuel delivered quicker. So we rely on other channels to get our fuel from these faster methods of delivering fuel that aren't as efficient and produce less total energy, hence why we cannot sustain higher intensity efforts for longer periods. It was popular for quite some time, probably around the mid 2010s or so, to focus on maximizing fats as a fuel source, and many people started doing fasted runs. The theory behind how this helps is that if you train your body to utilize fuel at a faster pace, you can sustain those paces for longer. Sounds very helpful for marathon training, right? When we were doing VO2 max testing at my Clinic Omega project, this was actually a variable that we looked at closely to see at what point somebody switched from predominantly using fat as a fuel source to using carbohydrates. I did a lot of my own training around this time fasted, where it was very low effort and very slow. And there's definitely performance gains that can be had with this type of efforts, but being fasted for every run may not be ideal. So if the goal of your workout is to improve things like anaerobic performance, neuromuscular adaptations, improve speed, promote muscular endurance, you may want to fuel before your run. For those that run in the morning like me, our body is at a deficit first thing in the morning. We borrow some stored calories from our liver overnight to help out with the recovery process. But if you have a speed or tempo workout plan, fueling ahead of time can help to overcome those deficits and make fuel more readily available. Please note that we're only talking about fueling before runs. Fueling during runs is another topic altogether. As a general rule of thumb, I like the saying that you can be fast or fasted. Know what the goal of a workout is and try to fuel appropriately. Now, always seek medical or professional guidance if you have any health concerns or other questions, because there's a lot of other factors that are involved with this, and there is a lot of individuality based on dietary needs or restrictions, allergies that we really want to make sure that you take into consideration. One other quick thing I learned recently before I share my own guidelines for fueling before workouts was something about running in the cold. And what I learned from a pretty unlikely source, the Weather Channel app, was that when we run in colder weather, we are actually less capable at utilizing fat as a fuel source. Now, I really like running in semi-cold weather, and some people may call this cold or not, but around that 15 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit is a really sweet spot that I really like running in here. But I noticed last winter that my performance started going down as the winter dragged on. So when I went on the Weather Channel app one day and was checking out the weather for my, the hourly to see what the temperature would be when I ran, it said that conditions would be very poor, although it seemed to me to be pretty ideal for a run. So I read what they had on the Weather Channel. It led me to actually a couple articles, and I did some research and found that our body, because of some hormones released and some constriction of the blood vessels, is not as good at utilizing fat before or during a run when it is in cold weather here. So now I eat 150 calories or so of easily digestible carbs before any cold weather runs. So in general, if you're looking to fuel before a run, here's what I do. I try to take and fuel in at least 20 minutes before the workout. Just we know that that's about the time that it takes for our body to digest it. And if we don't want our body to be focusing on digesting while we're doing harder efforts, we want to give ourselves at least 20 minutes. I also like to practice a fuel that I'm planning to use on race days, maybe in smaller portions. My go-to race meal is a peanut butter banana honey sandwich. So instead of making a double, 2 pieces of bread sandwich, I might make a half sandwich, and I might go pretty light on the peanut butter, just trying to get that 150, 200 calories or so in before I go. I'd also say drinking water is a must, whether you're planning to do the workout fasted or not. That is something that really is important for our metabolism and hydration. So no matter what you're doing, make sure that you're getting some water in right away. And then pay attention during your run. If you feel gassy or bloated while you're running, that's probably an indication that you might have taken in too many calories, or maybe you didn't give yourself enough time to digest it as you were going. I'm lucky to have a bit of an iron gut. I think I could probably eat a Big Mac right before a run. Not that I've ever done that. I did eat an Italian sub once right before a run, and I was absolutely fine. And everyone around me was probably a little disgusted, but impressed at the same time here. But pay attention to how your body feels. If you're feeling hungry during that run, then make sure that maybe you're taking a little bit more, or you might have to fuel during the run to make sure that you're having enough energy for what you're doing. So I hope this is helpful. This is one of those quick things that you can share with your running friends or with your clients and say, should you fuel before your runs? And you can say, well, do you want to be fast or do you want to be fasted? And there's more complexity to it there, but hopefully this gives you some simple guidelines, because it's not something that's going to have a huge impact, but something that you want to have a nice routine around. So thanks for listening, and happy running.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Run DNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The Run DNA podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The Run DNA podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at rundna.com.